M6, a helping hand with your land.
Neil from M6 here today to talk to you about this TerrainKing KXB 1800 mower on the side of this Kubota M6-111 tractor. We're gonna walk you around here a little bit, show you a little bit about this setup, explain to you what it means when these companies say this stuff is performance matched. If you're a municipality, somebody that's got an extreme application for something like this, we'll educate you a little bit about this product. So you're all probably very familiar with Kubota and their tractors, but TerrainKing might be a name that you've not heard before. If you look on the lower end of this logo right here, you'll notice that this company is a member of the Alamo Group. What TerrainKing is a cooperation between Alamo and Kubota to specifically performance match some of these kind of unique implements onto the side of Kubota tractors. It's these two companies going together and basically having their engineering departments certify that these crazy boom mowers that are going on these sides of these machines are appropriate for one another. You can buy boom mowers like this under Alamo's name or a number of other different companies in this industry, but they're not necessarily going through that same certification process where the manufacturer and the implement company is working together in order to make sure these things are matched appropriately. There's generally some engineering sharing, but this is kind of a new level of cooperation, which is why these guys kind of get their own name that goes along with it. So you can only buy TerrainKing mowers on Kubota products, but you will find these similar products offered on other brands, so maybe with some different mounting kits or intricacies in how these things are put together. When you start putting implements like this boom mower onto a tractor, you start asking for things from the machine that it may not necessarily be made to do from the factory. So you're going to need things like hydraulic flow and cooling that goes way beyond what the tractor normally would need to produce, hydraulic functions in order to operate all the different things that this complicated boom can do, and additional reservoirs and cooling tanks in order to support the whole system. And you'll find in the case of this machine, that all hangs out here in front of the tractor. The pump here, you're going to notice, drives off the underside of the engine. They actually take the crankshaft and make some modifications starting back at the engine to drive power out the front of the machine. That one little thing right there is often a determination of what tractors are able to run this kind of highway equipment and which ones can't. You're going to find a lot of machines out here where this process of being able to access the engine itself is really challenging depending on how the front end of the machine is built. This is one where it works out quite well. There's plenty of room to get this entire pack of hardware out here in front of the tractor. This isn't the only place there where we've got changes. Let's work our way around the back side of the machine here. I can show you some of the things that happen to the fuel tank. Now you'll notice when we go and add something onto the tractor, like an 18-foot boom with a flail head that's going to hang off the side of the machine, obviously you've got a lot of off-balance weight, and you need something in order to counteract that and balance the machine out. In the case of this machine, it's done with two big weights here that are on the left-hand side of the machine. So you'll see a really substantial, huge wheel weight back here inside the tire, and this big counterweight here that sits underneath and around the step of the machine. In a normal M6-111, this is actually where the fuel tank is. They had to remove the fuel tank in order to put this weight in place. A new fuel tank has been built then that comes in the kit with this mower that slides in back behind the tire. It's a nice stainless tank back here in order to relocate that fuel tank. So you can see here kind of the level of engineering that's required in order to make all these things work together. One thing that's not found on all mowers like this is a separate radiator in order to keep the hydraulic system cool. Now we started at the front of the tractor and showed that big pump and reservoir on the front end of the machine driving off the front of the engine. The radiator for that system is actually around the back side of the unit here. Now this radiator is not back here all by itself. It kind of makes sense to put it here along with this mounting. This big rack here is made in order to set the flail head back in if you're going to be traveling with this tractor back and forth. It gives you a place to set it and secure it for trucking or roading and those kinds of things. You'll notice up on the cab roof there's an additional set of safety lights that are put up there on the top. Because these things are generally going to be operating along the side of a roadway, they look for a little bit more than just a regular four-way. So there's an extra light bar that comes along with this that's up on the roof that's fed off in the multi-pin connector here on the back of the tractor. These highway booms are a really impressive piece of engineering. This whole thing has a total of 6 hydraulic functions on it that are all operated by a multi-function stick that's added up inside the cab. So your 6 functions are rotating down here at the base of the machine, being able to move this boom segment, rotating the head itself, opening the safety mower door here on the front, and then the hydraulic line that comes out in order to run the drum itself. So 6 different hydraulic functions that are driven off the tractor in order to make this whole thing work. This one right here is an 18-foot version. A 22 is available as well. It's gonna come to it with a little bit larger tractor in order to support that bigger boom. You're also going to have options for the type of mower that goes out here on the end. At this point, we generally sell mostly flail heads because they're going to do a nice job in grasses, but also be able to take down brush. If you're doing mostly brushy, sticky type stuff, rotary mower heads are also available. Traditional like single big blade rotary mower like you'd have on the back of a tractor. Those are really popular out there, but lately we've been seeing a lot of the industry swing to these flail heads with heavier knives on them. You can get big hammer knives in order to do more woody material, but also ones that have a good blade across the front in order to cut grass and give it a pretty nice look when you're done. So in order to operate all the additional hydraulic functions on the boom, you have this additional stick up here inside the cab. In order to start this guy, you've got a power switch up here at the front that activates this entire system. Once it's on, you can pull the boom front and back to lift it up and down. Take it left and right in order to take the dipper in and out, kind of a little like you would with an excavator. But then you get a bunch more functions as well. You can actually twist this stick to the left and the right in order to twist the boom back and forth. You have a tilt function here on the head itself, so if you're, say, going over top of a guardrail and you have to swing this thing in order to cut the contour properly, you can tilt the head in, and then you have this right here that's going to rotate the head left and right. Once you're ready to go mow, in order to turn this on, you've got to pull out the big motor stop button. Every tractor should have a big red button like this. And once it's pulled out, you got a little button here for motor start. You can hear the engine tone there change as it starts up that big hydraulic pump in order to run that motor. Once that's up and going, now we can take the engine RPMs up in order to get that guy spinning. And that's going to give you some proper power. In order to shut it off, we just hit the big red motor stop button, and that's going to stop our flail head from spinning. One thing that's impressive here while I'm sitting moving this thing around, you can see I've got, again, an 18-foot boom with a several hundred-pound head on the end of it. If I sit here and even rev this thing up, get some throttle, and move this back and forth, you can see how the hydraulic system is really smooth. I would describe it as a little spongy compared to, say, an excavator, right? The intent here is not necessarily for great precision. It's for slow and controlled movements, and you can see the hydraulic system is set up that way. You probably would, call it vague, honestly, but it's to give you that soft touch because you have all that weight, and you can see here 2 things. It moves really smoothly, but also the huge amount of counterweight on the other side of the machine really does its job. I can sit here and bounce this up and down, and I'm only getting a tiny bit of wiggle out of this tractor. It's not like I feel like the machine's gonna pop up on 2 wheels, despite the fact that all that weight is hanging way out there. So we've spent a lot of time talking about the mower. There's a lot of things that make this particular tractor good for this kind of platform. One of those things are these R14 tires. This is something Kubota started to come out in pretty broad support of. Most highway mowing tractors like this, you usually see are going to be equipped with ag tread tires more often than not. It's because they're heavier sidewalls, they're radial so they can road fairly quickly. But they get a certain like clump as those things drive down the road, and they don't wear particularly well. These R14s are very, very well suited to this type of application. With the center line down the middle of them here, they road a lot better than what an R1 tire does. So you're gonna see our machines that are going out to these kind of municipal applications generally equipped with R14s. The M6 is a good sized platform too for this kind of boom mower. It gives you a power shift transmission in a fairly small tractor. A lot of machines that you're going to see in this size from, say, our green competitor are going to come through with power quad transmissions, where you have 4 power shift gears in 4 different ranges. This one is going to come through with 8 power shift gears in 3 different ranges as standard equipment. It's not an upcharge in this tractor in order to get a good transmission. It's really nice for something like this boom mower, because if you're out driving down the road and you want just a little bit more speed, it's as easy as punching a button on the joystick or the armrest in order to shift up or down, and you don't have as many clutch points or ranges in order to work between, so it's really nice for maintaining your speed well. When one of these mowers shows up here in our dealership, it does not come from the factory installed on the tractor. It's actually part of our process here in order to go through and take all of these pieces, all the modifications, from installing the pumps and the shafts on the front, removing the fuel tanks, installing this boom, and putting all this stuff on the machine. It speaks volumes about the skill level of our service technicians that they're able to go through and do these kinds of things. And they deserve a special shout out in this video, Ben specifically, in the ways that we go through and set up and prep this kind of stuff to go out to customers. This is not the kind of thing that you just throw the new guy at, and the skill level that our service guys bring to this kind of equipment, and the kinds of packages that we're able to put together for our customers is really cool and speaks a lot about the careers that they've had and the levels that they've been able to raise our dealership to. So if you have a municipal or commercial mowing application, we have a whole range of products from several different vendors in order to meet your needs. We also got a staff of municipal sales guys that are out on the road, stopping by in order to meet you, kind of start the relationship and show off what we have to offer as far as both product lines, parts and service support, in order to make sure you're able to get out there and work reliably and efficiently. If you have any questions about a piece of machinery, you have parts and service needs for a piece of equipment you've already got, give us a call at Messick's. We're available at 800-222-3373 or online at Messick's.com.